folks, Toad here with VisorDown.com, and can we all please pray silence, pay a bit of respect, because we are in the presence of greatness in the form of the Kawasaki ZZR1400. So, I'm a little bit sad really that I have to make this review now, because this is the final year of ZZR1400 in the UK. It is being discontinued, and I've only had this bike for a couple of days, so this is just a first impressions video. It's not a full review, it's just giving you our first thoughts about the bike. But I'm really sad, because you know what, this thing is bloody good. It's being replaced or superseded by the Ninja H2 SX and the SE, the supercharged versions of the Sports Tourer. And it's kind of all come about because of Euro regulations and building big bikes with big CC and huge power output is getting harder and harder and harder to do. So the Kawasaki engineers have figured out that if you supercharge 1000, it can make the same amount of power as the ZZR1400. But power's only one bit of it, and torque's only one bit of it, because the bikes are very similar on those two performance metrics. But I'll tell you what, there's something about a big bore engine and the way it makes power and the way that turns into speed and into thrust. I don't think you can beat it. So there we go. I've kind of moped a little bit there. I'll get that out of the way because I needed to say it, because I think I really, really like this bike. I'll just go through it in a bit of detail, and then we'll be giving it a full review, including some long distance tours. We've got a couple of trips down south on it. I've got a couple of track days booked as well. Not on this, I might add, but on some other stuff that I'm going to be using it for. So there'll be a full review coming on Visor Down very, very soon. So to start with, this is the Performance Edition of the ZZR1400. And with the Performance Edition, you get a very nice Öhlins TTX rear shock absorber with remote reservoir. You also get that very, very good double bubble screen, and you also get the exceptionally slinky and lovely sounding Akrapovic end cans there, the titanium cans. So the standard bike comes in at 12,599. So that's for the bog stock ZZR1400 without the cans, and it's got a different rear shock. You don't get the double bubble screen. The bike that you can see before you is a shade under 14k, which is 13,899, which actually, when you look at the parts that you're getting, I mean, just even looking at them on the spec sheet, it looks like better value for money for just going for this, because the first thing everybody ditches is an end can, and the double bubble screen is absolutely invaluable. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. And an Öhlins on the rear end just makes the ride of this thing so plush and so forgiving, but not wallowy in any way, shape or form. So in my mind, upgrading for the Performance Sport Edition over the stock bike when it's going to be, what, 20 quid a month on a PCP deal, it's just an absolute no-brainer for me. So what are we looking at? This has got 200 PS, so 197 horsepower, which there are a lot of bikes that make that sort of money on the motorcycle market. There's loads of them, but you think about this thing, and actually it's been around for a heck of a long time, and it's always been one of those sports tourers that's just, you're looking for a benchmark in speed and stability and a massive engine that can take you places really, really quick. And the ZZR is always a bike that keeps coming back, and it's that bike that you sort of think of. And I'd never ridden one up until a couple of days ago. It's always a bike that sort of eluded me for some reason. And then as they're discontinuing it, we had to get one. We couldn't miss it. There aren't many updates for the 2020 version of it. As you can imagine, it's been discontinued, so it's got this new funky paint scheme, and they've messed around with the trim levels between each of the models, I think, a little bit. But essentially it is just the benchmark in fast road touring in absolute comfort, and I'm going to come on to that in a little bit as well. So as I mentioned, the Performance Sport has got an Öhlins TTX 39 rear shock absorber with remote reservoir, so the level of adjustability that you can do with this is just absolutely phenomenal. I doubt there are race bikes out there that have got this level of adjustability on them. It's let me just read this. So compression damping, you got 22 clicks, rebound damping, you got 22 clicks, and you've got fully adjustable spring preload. The front forks as well are just as versatile in what you can do with them. So they are 43mm, they've got 18-way compression damping, they've got rebound damping to 15 clicks, and they've got fully adjustable spring preload. I mean, whatever you want this bike to do in terms of how you want to set it up with the suspension, it's pretty much going to be able to do it all. Another really big and key feature of a bike like this, a sports tourer, is comfort. You need to be able to sit on these things long distance and ride them, and this thing just, you sit on it and it's almost like the seat and the bodywork and the fuel tank kind of just melt around the shape of your body. It's very special riding it, and it makes it almost, well, no, it doesn't make it almost, it is deceptively fast. I'd spoken to people who'd owned them and ridden them, and they were going, yeah, bloody hell, you won't realise you're doing the speeds that you're doing on that thing. And I thought, well, no, you always know what speed you do. No. Honestly, you feel like you're doing motorway speeds and you're going a bit faster, a lot faster, very fast. It is so deceptive, and it is kind of all because of the way the bike's been designed and honed. It's been fused together in a wind tunnel, basically. Everything about the bike and everything about the shape of that front fairing is just to smooth the airflow. And then they add on the double bubble screen that you get with the Performance Sport, and it is absolutely phenomenal. Most sports tourers that I've ridden, the double bubble screens that they put on them, they're kind of all right, but you still have to sort of crouch your head in. Admittedly, I am quite short. I've come to terms with that fact, but I am fully in the bubble with my arms at a comfortable position. And then when you want to tuck down, it's just all you can hear is the engine. There is absolutely no wind noise whatsoever. It's very, very, very cleverly designed. I'm really, really impressed with the whole aerodynamic package that this bike has got. But then again, like I said at the beginning of the video, the ZZR line and the lineage and the DNA stretches all the way back to sort of the ZZR's 1100s and so on and so forth. And it's kind of just been honed over time to make it this smooth, svelte, nice thing to ride and nice place to be. And it is, you could easily do 600-700 miles in a day on this thing and you would not feel an ache or a pain anywhere in your body. Super impressed with that. It is very, very good. This bike has also got the Brembo monoblock calipers that you can see up front there, and we've got some lovely Brembo master cylinders mated to them as well. And like all of those brakes, there's acres and acres of braking power, performance and feel through the front brakes. The back brake is a little bit vague, but then again it's got a thumping great rear tyre attached to it, so it would have to be super strong to get anything out of it. But it works enough at low speed that you can use it accurately, which is good. But that's just a tad vague. But then again, this bike, it had 30 miles on it when I picked it up, and to be honest with you, I barely use the back brake once I'm up to speed anyway, so it might just be that the pads aren't fully bedded in as yet. So another nice feature that I like about this bike, and this is a bit kind of counterintuitive because TFTs, in terms of making bikes to a certain price and everything else and what consumers generally want, they normally want a TFT, and Kawasaki haven't done that with this. They've kept the analog dash that it's got, and I actually really like that, and I'll tell you for why. Because when you crank this thing open, it accelerates at warp speed, and you get to see that needle go from there to there quicker than it takes Usain Bolt to run down 100 meters track. It is mind-blowing acceleration. And when you've got it numbers flicking up on a TFT, you don't really get that sensation of speed, that kind of warp drive out of the corner. And this thing just turns trees into a blur in absolute seconds. It's properly entertaining to ride. Equipment wise, we've got an LCD screen up top which holds all your sort of vitals and your range to empty and MPG and all the rest of it, and your couple of trips and stuff, and that's really easy to flick through on the right hand handlebar. It's the same sort of button configuration and layout and use as the Z900s and Z Ninja 1000 SX, and it's a really intuitive system to go through there and to reset the trips and everything. So far so good on all of that. I haven't done a proper MPG test on it yet because I've just been having too much fun. So what I'm going to do, I've got to go down to London on Friday this week to go and film another feature, and I'll do a proper MPG test then, because we're going to be doing a bit of A-road and dual carriageway, then we're on the motorway for about 75 miles, and then there's going to be the getting through all the traffic into London. So it's just the perfect idea, the perfect time to do an MPG test and find out what it can actually do. So what else have we got planned for the ZZR14? Well, like I said, we've got some trips to London, we've got some more commuting and general sort of bimbling about town on the thing, and I think that's the one thing that surprised me most, is the little town riding, and the just, you know, nipping through town at 30 miles an hour and so on and so forth. It's very, very refined at speed and at low speed. It's very refined, and it's also, and I noticed this from the second I got on it when I picked it up from Kawasaki's H2 in High Wycombe the other day, how light on its feet it is. Sometimes bikes, when you just swing a leg over them and you're just paddling them around, you have to properly heave at the bars to get them to move, especially with my diminutive pins. But this thing, it just seems to want to roll in any direction. It's really, really light on its feet. It's really easy to move around. And when you are riding around town, it's not what you expect a 200 horsepower 1400cc bike to handle like. It doesn't feel like something this big and this heavy. I mean, it weighs in at 268 kilograms ready to ride, and you really don't feel any of that weight. It is a really live, really nimble, and a very impressive bit of kit to go and have a play on. So first impressions are very good. I am interested to see what an MPG test is going to be on it. We'll do a properly accurate MPG test on the run down to London. We should find out what that is. But yeah, there'll be a full review coming up on Visor Down in the coming days, so stay tuned, folks. If you like that video, folks, please don't forget to let us know in the comments below, and hit like, subscribe and the notification bell so that you can stay up to date with all of Visor Down's latest videos. For all the latest news, reviews and motorcycle features, please head over to visordown.com.